Something else about the novel that I noted immediately is this could very easily be used in a school setting as a means to talk about the culture of India. There are several things throughout. We learn about some of the gods. I know Indira Gandhi comes up at one point. The caste system is referenced periodically. So I'm always curious, what is the balance? Because this doesn't read like a homework assignment where, okay, here I am, young reader, it's time to learn about India. It's just information that's scattered throughout with a great narrative to pull any reader through with these universal experiences. So what is or is there a proper ratio for how much information to impart to make sure that you are teaching the reader about another culture versus telling that story? And when do you know where you're going too far one way or the other?
I think anytime you start to think that you're teaching, you have to stop. So I think only what is natural in the story. So everything that you speak about, the gods, the caste system, the setting, for instance, and everything else, all of that is what the characters experience. So none of that is explained. So the character will never, neither Ruku nor Vijay nor Muthu nor Arul will sit down and tell you, hey, look, this is what this is all about. And so I think that's the difference. I think you just have to, and it happens naturally. So the book is set in India where I grew up. The story comes from India. It was born there. It's integrated with that culture and that setting. And so that milieu is then reflected in everything that the novel is about, and the story then references that, because that is sort of the ambience that is part of that story. It's kind of an integral part of that whole story. So I think if you start thinking you have to insert these bits in, then, or maybe, who knows, maybe other authors work differently. So I shouldn't speak for everyone. But for me, I think if I were to sit there and think, what is she eating? Is she eating something Indian? Oh, maybe not. Maybe I should put something Indian in. That feels forced. But of course,
they're largely eating bananas through most of the novel. We have those here.
Right. And so, that's, I guess, when that happens, or it just has to feel integral to the novel. It has to feel integrated with everything else and not like information stuffed in. And I do think there's something to be said for knowing that your story, for believing, for trusting that your story will carry the reader through, even if at times they don't fully get a particular reference. If you were speaking about some kind of food, for instance, in the beginning, in the first scene in the novel, Vijay walks in and she smells payasam, which her mother has been making. And we know that from what she says, we know it's sweet. We know it's syrupy. We know that there's a smell of milk. So we know there's milk in it. We know there's sugar in it. We don't need to have the recipe for payasam. We don't need to know how long she's been cooking it on the stove. And you know what I mean? We don't need to know all the different spices that go in. We have enough information. And for somebody who knows what that word is, who knows what payasam is, it makes complete sense. For someone else, they know enough that it makes enough sense for them to continue. And
that makes sense. You don't want to grind the story to a halt to simply discuss the food that's being eaten. There are more interesting things to come.
Right. You never want to halt your story and explain.